Hey, everybody, we're just going to come out and give an opportunity to see who might be on. Um, talk a little bit. So, anytime if you just feel free to take something down here if you feel like it. Um, we're here in Decatur, Tennessee, and we're offering to put our offer back out just in case you're somebody different, someone new. You know, we're looking for a unicorn bestie. Uh, like I told my wife earlier, you never know. You might be one person, might be out of here. Uh, might not have thought of this idea, but it might sound good to their heart. It might be somebody that says, "Hey, I understand." Like we said, me and my wife, we've had a couple times that's we've offered something to some people, and some people, like the little brat and family diner down there, you know, really made me and my wife look bad when she was just trying to understand what this one woman was doing down there. Yeah, I know that still bothers her, and it still bothers me. Uh, She at first she came off as somebody that it seemed like she wanted something, so we went down there. Actually, back that up. We went down there to eat, start with, but this one that was serving us, she had, if I remember right, she had curly red hair, and I can't remember what her name was, but she was standing there talking about some personal stuff she shouldn't have been talking about, for example, and so I told my wife, I said, well, I got to go to the bathroom real quick. And in about 2 or 3 minutes, I came back, I sat down, and she's all excited. She said, hey, she said this and she said that. And so and then by that time I seen, we seen, his name was Jim, sitting over there, and he heard all this going on. And so then she goes back there and says, basically that we was making her feel uncomfortable. She went back there and actually told somebody. I said, it's all her fault, because like I said, this is something that we do not, and I will make this clear, we do not put it out on posters. We do not put it on T-shirts. We don't put it in magazines or papers. It's just something that we choose to keep to ourselves. We think about it, pray about it, and we leave it at that. Now, a lot of times at night, feller, goes to bed. Maybe that's, it's something like I said. It would be nice if there was somebody that didn't have a lot going on. I always say if somebody's got kids and they ain't my kids, I don't want to be around anybody with kids. I don't understand why 90% of these women go out there and get pregnant and have all these kids up their ass and they're going to sit back and they're going to wonder, man, what could I have done with my life if I didn't go out there and get all messed up and get pregnant? Because, a lot of them probably regrets it later on. Now, I know one in particular that I wish wasn't here, and boy, it made my life a lot easier. But, that my mom had. But anyway, it's just been one of these things like you see 90% of these people, they make sure they tell you they're up their family's ass. They make sure they tell you they got 3 or 4 or 5 kids. If I can't stand 2 kids, in front of me. I don't know what makes these people on the internet think you're going to want 3, 4, 5 kids to have to put up with when they ain't your kids. And, because then my point is you're regulated to a certain, you're being trolled by people. They're saying not to say this, not to do that, because it's not your kids. Well, if they're in our space, and y'all are sitting here and they act up and y'all ain't doing anything, then we're going to do something about it, So, I mean, it doesn't matter whose kids they are. It don't matter whose ass they crawled out of or who was responsible for giving them to you. That's what a lot of the women do to us and expect us to understand that. And no, I don't get it. If that was something you wanted, then go to it. Stay with all that. Because if you ain't got time if they come first, and here's my argument against it. If your kids come first before anything else, then don't date anybody. I mean, just unless they're so full of happiness, unless just some guy or couple comes along or something comes along and says, hey, these are the best kids I've ever met. They're not loud. They're not running and jumping and screaming and hollering and going on. Then you might make a case. I wouldn't care for kids being a part of some kind of package if they knew how to behave, whether it was 1, 2, or how many ever they had. But the minute I have to hear what we heard 9 months ago out of somebody, always wanting daddy and all that other mess or something similar to it, whining and going on and crying, when, we couldn't do anything about that situation. I regret that me and my wife ever got into it to begin with. She didn't know that person no more than I did. And I always say, sometimes you just have to learn. You have to learn and you have to move on with, next time we'll do a lot better and we'll check everybody out and everything in it. And we ain't going to let them sleep around here, not till we get everything out. I don't give a damn what time it is. As long as I'm up and she's up and we feel like staying up, that's what's going to happen. In the rare occasion or event that we're feeling that tired, that you can bet your bottom dollar when we first get up, we're going to get you then. So one way or another, we're not going to let you sit around here for 2 or 3 days and think you're getting clever. As soon as possible, we're going to get this stuff done. Now, if you're one of those that can treat us fairly and you are a good listener, like I've read on some of these people's profiles on these sites sometimes, and we have fun with it, there's no need to take them serious. It's not saying we don't want to take them serious, but, these are people that live in, for example, there's people that lives in, where's that? New York, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Knoxville, Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee, all kinds of places. We just have fun with it because, like I said, you can't take them serious. Reason just like I said, it just gives you something to do. You're only looking for that one certain person. And I know their argument, and I'm going to go ahead and put it out here while it's on my mind. Their argument is, well, I wasn't really looking for something like that. Well, maybe you wasn't, but maybe somebody wasn't, but maybe it sounds good to them. I remember that time, like I said, I mentioned her before. I got that mysterious message almost 4 years ago. And she ended up, taking us in and was going to do this and that, but things out of my control, and out of my wife's control, started happening. this person fell for an ad, like I said, and things like that. And yes, some of this is going to be repeats, but it gives us a few minutes to give everybody time in case somebody does want to chat. So feel free, like I said, to interrupt. These are just things that we feel like, putting out and talking about, giving everybody time. So, yeah, it's hard to say, but whether or not we get it or not, it's not up to us. It's y'all. Hey, y'all take to our situation. Hey, y'all take to a handicapped person's situation, and how y'all would feel if the shoes were on the other foot. If you're somebody that can understand that, maybe you're a doctor, a nurse, maybe you take care of people at a nursing home, maybe you don't have a whole lot to look forward to at home, maybe you don't have a kid or anything, and maybe you're just working to work, but don't know why, but you work a lot of hours. Well, it doesn't matter as long as you come home and say, if you did have me or my wife, we'd make sure your house was done, cleaned up, or whatever, and because you work, we wouldn't have to work. Like I said, it's not that we don't want to work. We've had jobs. And I was also going to throw this in there. A lot of people says, well, what do you do for a living? I'd like to have had still been working. My wife probably too, I could say. But the problem we run into, both of us, is that you people out there, most of you, don't know how to do your job right. You lay people off for any little thing, or you say, oh, you'd rather get rid of the people that's working the hardest for you, even if we're only able to work part-time. I've been laid off twice for silly and stupid things, such as this virus. The first time I got laid off, though, was due to some money issue. So instead of cutting me down a little bit, which I would have understood because I only work part time, I'm not money hungry. I'm not me or my wife, either one. I mean, we make more on an me and her both combined with what we get, make more on our checks combined than you all make in a whole entire month on any check that you get. I'd say you'd be lucky to get $400 or $500. We'd still probably get about 90 something more dollars on and it's not our fault. The government made all these rules up long before we were here in most cases. I don't know when they started doing SSI, but I'm sure that was long before we got here. And it wasn't up to me how I came out, or my wife, for example. So you can't just sit here and take it out on us. I'm not saying anybody out here is. Like I said, it's just something to talk about till give people time. So if y'all have any questions or concerns or comments of any kind, you want me to answer something, or me and my wife to talk, so here's y'all's chance. We thought we'd do one of these at least once a day, at least. Maybe twice a day sometimes, but I felt, like I come out here and put something out here. But like I said, we got stuff here, like stuffed animals and some of her reborn dolls. So, I could tell her it's going to take somebody, not only with what's outside, which is part of the package, but it's going to take somebody with that much inside that looks just as good on the inside as they do on the out to come out and want to have something like this. It would take somebody that's kind of, I'm not going to sit here and say that you're the most religious person in the world, but you could have somebody that just maybe like she did, there for a while. She ain't been at the church in almost a month now. And like I said, after what she went through, and I don't blame her for not going back. If she never went back, because like I've always said, it's always been up to her. I've not made her go. She just sometimes wanted to go and gets in that notion to go, but uh, I've never said she had to go. So it's one of those things where again, um, she's tired of getting mistreated, and I'm tired of hearing about these people playing us and doing these things. But you got to get through. You got to get through those in order to maybe find what you hope comes to you. If you give up, quit cold turkey, which a lot of these kind of wants to say they misread something or they didn't, that's y'all's fault. It's not our fault. Me and my wife, every day is a new day. We always get up in a pretty good mood every day. I'm not going to say it's always the greatest. Sometimes you might wake up a little bit and maybe you didn't sleep very good. We could do that from time to time. But it's nothing we can't handle. But these people, whether in person or off the internet, either way, we've gotten, our fair share of stuff we didn't ask for, stuff that we didn't count on. We had a whole different vision. And these people want to take our offer and minimize it down to the little itty bittiest thing. Put some kind of restriction or some kind of, something in it. Or like I've mentioned before, some of my friends that just one or two of them happened to be a girl that I talked to just sparingly, took us out. One particular time, one of them took us out, and then it turned into a sideshow. They just want to make it all about all these other people they hung around. So yeah, other than saying hi to that person, I don't speak to them no more than that. And there's no need to put her name back out here again because I've already done it before. Somebody offered one time church. So I went to church with one of these other people I knew. Wasn't the same person I saw at school. Of course, like I said, I never went to these people's houses. Don't know where they lived at here in Decatur. But like I said, they change because they get their panties in a wad and get their panties all up in a bunch because they think they want to have all these kids and get married and have one person in their life, but then they always get something started and get into some kind of a situation that they don't think, before they do something a lot of times. And so then, the other problem, the main problem I have with that is like other people that knew me from school come up to me and say, "Well, did you hear about so-and-so? Did you hear that they no longer together?" I said, "No, I don't know. It ain't none of my business. It's none of me or my wife's business. What happens in their life. I've been jumped on by Chastity. I've been jumped on by, I'll go ahead and say them, Stacy. No, because they want to go out and they want to do things with other people, and they don't take in consideration how me and my wife feels. I mean, if y'all like that stuff and that's all y'all's concerns, then like I said, we can't help it. We feel differently. We don't want 20 or 30 people up our butt. I knew like I said, I knew Stacy was married and all that, but as me and my wife I thought we could go around the block and walk. I didn't think over here at the park, I didn't think that, you know, people would have a problem uh, with me and my wife, walking around the block. But she went over there and wanted to play basketball with all these people. I never liked basketball that much. So, I mean, I don't mind shooting basketball. Me and my wife don't mind. And I don't mind to do that. But in no way am I going, me or her, either one, are we going to entertain all these damn people passing the ball around. And because somebody's going to get upset, somebody's going to get jealous if you don't pass it around, and they're going to think, yeah, that's why I didn't play professional sports, for one thing, because I didn't want to be bossed around by coaches. I didn't want to have to hear it from any other people I didn't know on a team that I don't know, and it'd just be something, well, there can people on TV can do it. Why can't you? Well, I just choose not to. I don't want to be famous. I don't really want to be in that limelight. Like I said, if you were asking me what would I do with my money, most of it, if I were to get famous, ever got famous in any form or fashion, I've always said I'd take the money I got, and the majority of it I'd give to some worthy charity. I'd take and give it to somebody in need or something. I could take 1,000 or 2,000 of what I got paid. Say if I got paid 10,000, if I took 1,000 or 2,000 of it just to have for things that I might need at the store or something, just enough to live on. But I'd take and donate the rest of it, because there's no need in being selfish pricks about the money you get. And buying cars and buying houses and buying things you don't need. Like I said, a lot of these celebrities are bad examples for people. Other people out there look up to these people, and they're out there smoking and drinking and doing drugs and getting into stuff they don't need to be getting into. Like I said, it's a lot of problems. And in this world, that that you're never going to ever get everybody straightened out. So it's just what it is. But no, we try, like I said, we try to come out here and give everybody an opportunity once or twice a day. Sometimes, like when we first get on, they'll show up like there's one person on there watching. Sometimes they'll get off in about 5 seconds. I don't know if it's the same people every time, but YouTube didn't seem to have a lot of people that gets on here and looks for streams or people on live, I guess it's just, a lot of people's probably watching videos or something. But like I said, for my wife, I'd hope they have her reborn things in common with her. And if we found somebody, of course, and, she likes to do art and color and things of that nature. And so that's the biggies for her, somebody that might like her lifetime. I don't mind to watch them, like her though, if it gets to, if it don't make sense, or if it's just some stupid something or other, and people scripting fights, that's obviously not what should be on TV. I mean, that's what'll make sense. You can script that in a movie and basically do something in real life like that and you get in trouble. But you can script that crap in a movie and be doing that, performing that in front of freaking cameras and people sitting there saying, action! Well, they're getting paid a lot of money. Yeah, well, money don't continuously grow on trees neither. There ain't no money tree out here be shook and be out in your front yard. It's the same as I don't think he's ever going to be just anybody up and everybody's yard, everything that they think about or pray about, whether it be a job or something like what we're hoping for or anything else. It just doesn't fall in place like you want to or as quick as you want to. But yeah, if me or her wanted a job so bad, if we thought we could trust somebody, we'd be already to it. But the fact is, you got a lot of these nobodies that don't know how to treat handicapped people or anybody else for that matter. Why go get a job when you can't trust the person up over you that's got the stroke to hire you in the first place? And I only trusted one person because she made it clear what she wanted, and that was Lisa at Hardee's. But she didn't monkey around. She's the one person I can say wasn't afraid to pull me in her office. We could talk about it if it had something to do with, her having to cut me. At one time, she had to cut some people down. Everybody in there. When President Obama was in the White House and they were having all this government shutdown bull over some small crap they could have worked out long before. They were just doing it on purpose, making people suffer. So one time I remember getting cut down in 2016. That just started practically about a year or less into my job. And she said, I'm going to have to cut you down from 2 days to 1 day. Is that all right? And I said, yeah. But then you get somebody like a Beverly comes in after Lisa had to, retire or leave because of health reasons. Then you get somebody like Beverly that can't do their stuff right. Hardee's is all messed up now. I've had people there since I've left. There've been a few of them come up to me and ask me, why I wasn't working there. I said, because the new management don't like the way they do things. I don't know why anybody goes in there for a job. It's not worth it. It's not worth putting your livelihood on the line. You don't get paid enough. It ain't worth it. Especially when you got stuff at home that you still don't come out on the better end because there's not enough money there to support it. In most cases, unless you're just like me or my wife. I mean, like I told people, we could do side jobs or something for somebody if there was somebody around here close enough by, and it was something we could do. We wouldn't mind to do it, but at no time are we sitting here asking for anybody to offer anything to us. But we're throwing this out here as a way to say, hey, if you hear us talking and see us talking, and either one of our offers sound like something that you have in mind and that you'd like to check out, whether it be the unicorn thing for the lady or whether somebody out there is looking for somebody for odd job work, I remember my wife or something, and it was something to do with some cleaning or something easy that we know we could do, and it's close by or something, and it was just like a day or two a week or something. Because unless somebody come out here and pick this up, every day I don't see how we do it. But if it's like once or twice a week, I could set it up with Setter and pay them the $2 or $3, whatever they needed, $4, and make sure I had it, but before I started. So, but anyway, Decatur, Tennessee, been pretty quiet here as of late. So it's always usually quiet, but yeah, it's noticeably gotten quieter since we've been making these videos. My wife was telling me the other night, said, yeah, it's still really quiet, basically. And she don't see nobody hardly out there now like she used to.
They all stay inside.
But, they should stay inside. And let's see. I mean, like I said, I ain't trying to shoot nobody down if they want to go out there and do a walk. Do you walk? What I can tell you, and I mean, people, you can take it for what you will, but I mean, a person can't help why one gets something and the other don't, but what you can do about it, if you feel that it's one of these things like me and her have talked about, if it's one of these fetishist deals or one of these sexist deals or whatever you want to call it, and you feel that's what it is, even though they're probably not going to say it, but it obviously is because it's unfair to a lot of other people, and it can cause problems no matter where you're at. Like I said, a lot of times I'm invited to things and I don't know why, because there's not much. Remember, my wife, either one, have had things thrown at us that we didn't ask for that are much less than what we're wanting. A lot less. And I'm not one to bullshit around and take something less than what me and her's got in mind. Because it's not going to fit what we're looking for. It's not going to be enough. Friendship, I threw that out the door a long time ago, and she's thrown anything out she's had. But that one person, or maybe a person with a bestie, if there's somebody out there, it's like us, lonely, doesn't have a lot on their plate, that would like something, an offer like what we've offered out here on videos. And we're nice enough to come out here and give somebody out here that may have not have ever heard us talk, may have not ever seen us on there before, a chance to talk. Like I said, we might be reasonable enough. If somebody was just looking for a text buddy or something on the side after we got that or something, if there was something out here in one of these videos, like I said, we might could take a couple of those if something like that were available to take. But I'd really like to see, I'd really like to see something that we're looking for happen before that. Because really, if we had that before we had the biggest thing, it just wouldn't be enough. It wouldn't feel yet, enough to get you. Because, then you have to worry about everybody's time deal, and you have to worry about, somebody calling or texting somebody, phone always being up their butts or something. Or, a lot of these people are saying the reason they do this snappy chat business or these WhatsApp businesses and all that other bull that they chatter on about because they don't want to give out their personal number. Well, good God, have mercy. Why are you, like I said, I don't care. It's usually the women that get on my nerves the most. But I'd say if you were a woman and you were looking for a guy and maybe a guy does the same thing, but I'm not on that end. We're not on that end, but I'm not saying it might not happen, but I just don't see how it would happen nowhere near as much. But and a lot of these, if they're afraid to give out their number and they're afraid to do the things. See, my wife and I could even, I think we've told them many a times. I don't know if we've told everybody on there, but many times we've said, hey, we get out here on YouTube. We've tried to promote our channel. It's got my name on it, but me and her both share it when we're on videos or something. Sometimes, like today, right now, I'm the only one talking, but she'll get her turn if she wants one. Like always,
I don't want to talk to nobody.
Okay. But
everybody treats me like shit. So.
Like I said, but anytime she feels welcome, she's more welcome. But like I said, she takes everybody too seriously. And she poses the question, and I'm addressing it again. She poses the question, well, what am I supposed to do? Well, if you take somebody too seriously and get too wrapped up in it, then you leave yourself open to get your feelings crushed. You leave yourself to get your feelings hurt. And So if you kind of take it with a pinch of salt, as they say, or just, kind of look at them half and half. Because you almost have to treat them like they're 5 years old. A lot of people today is not what I was used to back 10, 11, 12 years ago. These apps and these things have gotten out of control. And
Yeah,
I cannot, but I can understand because we had one of them. Well, I know, but I'm saying they're using that, saying that's an easier way for them to talk because they don't want to give out your number. Yeah, that's why I said I hate I hate today's phones and technology out here. I wish people would be more willing to give out their number. I'd rather give out my phone number before I gave out my social security number, for example, which I'm not giving out that, but that's what I'm saying. I'd rather give out my phone number before I gave out anything else. That was a personal thing to me because the only time that anybody should know your social security number or anything like that, or even your address. I mean, your address ought to be something you shouldn't give out unless you intend on meeting somebody, unless they, intend on it such, like I used to be able to do not so long ago. I mean, after you talk to them and ask them about their likes and dislikes, and if everything matches and you've talked about all that, then you usually say, hey, well, what's your address? Or, what's this or what's that? After, like I said, sometime after you have gotten to talk to them about other things and see if they match what you're looking for. But if but like I said, phone numbers and addresses would be something I'd give before I'd give out my social and do personal ID pictures. A lot of these come off first saying, they throwing this catfish thing around. They're throwing these little things around saying that people are fake. Well, I think fake is that, as far as I'm concerned, are people that believes that there's any chance that people are fake without really checking them out first. I mean, like I said, it's not. I'm not saying you can't get played or you can't be, done that way, but you got to play along with it to find it out. You got to treat it as like Scooby Doo. It's a mystery. Play along with it for a little while. Figure it out. Be a detective, like a detective would be. He or she doesn't know all the answers till they get in there and they start digging. So if you just start going on, my issue is a lot of these people start going on there, and yeah, it's funny to kind of laugh at them for doing it. But at the same time, if they didn't do that, they'd get a lot more done. They'd get a lot more. They'd have a better chance of finding somebody. But a lot of these people aren't that serious. And they were texting her, earlier, and like I'm sure there will be, many more it comes. But they're like, oh, this is only for dating a certain way or a certain thing. Yeah, I said, yeah, maybe to them, few, whether it be 10, 15, or how many ever comes, a lot of them probably think that way. They probably think it's for a girl and guy thing. That's probably what most of them look for. But like I said, we got in a situation on Facebook that we didn't intend on, but I told her kind of what we would like to have, and she was fine. So it just depends on the person. But the thing is, if you're far off and you're long distance away, it's up to you whether you can stomach coming down here and seeing us, if we're that worth it to you to have a unicorn relationship with you and offer you basically in so many words, it's almost like getting married again in a way. That's the way the law says. If you know somebody for so long and you basically they live in your house, they're basically married to you. So it's like it's another form of a relationship that you built on. I was told that by, and it makes sense. I mean, if you offered, if somebody out there were homeless and you took them in and you offered, and you didn't have to go through that adoption mess, me and my wife don't want to fool with it. But if somebody out here was homeless and we felt we could help somebody out, like I said, we always usually have stuff here, lot of clothes we could do offer, and there's always usually plenty of food go around, especially now that the food stamps have went up to about $400 and some dollars. Time they've added, the government's put a lot more on them. Like I said, it's their fault. We didn't make these rules and or anything, but it's just it's the way they came out. Having to realize not everybody comes out perfect. That can walk perfectly, and maybe very rarely does anybody ever end up not taking the medicines and having the lives that my dad and basically my brother have known to have. But there wasn't no reason to be jealous of that. They wasn't jealous of me being the way I was. They knew I couldn't help it. But like I said, it just depends on the person. You kind of got to treat them as like, half and half. You take them serious enough to start them out, and if they get to where you can build your trust up to the 100% mark, some of them do come off snobby. A lot of times they'll put stuff out there that is just, I can't think. There's so many of them that we run across, but they just online, they come off as these snobby people. And I told my wife, I said, man, if they really looked hard enough, I mean, just like I said earlier, Georgia, Pennsylvania, New York, I mean, Washington, D.C., if I stood out there in one of these other states, and if I lived in one of these other states, Texas, you see that a lot.
Yeah.
If I stood out there and you say, well, Derek, there could be some that have a small town like you got. Yeah, but if you're in the main part of town and you happen to be out there where there's a lot of these places that are, I mean, you've got a lot better chance. And I'm almost positive, like I told my wife earlier, I'm almost positive unless you live in like a little part of town like we do, which there could be. But if you live in New York City, you're never going to be bored there. You're never going to be bored in Las Vegas, or there's always that. It's just a couple examples. California, you go on and on. Florida. Like I said, there could be some people that go in and find somehow they find a nut and a squirrel nut, and maybe they find out that there's a little old piece of land out there in a little old town. Maybe they don't want to be in Miami, or maybe they don't want to be in Tampa, but maybe they want to be in some little bitty piece of Florida that that only has a certain amount of people. Maybe there's only 400 or 500 people, or whatever. And there's this little land, they want peace. Well, that's y'all's choice. But at the same time, if you go a little bit further, in most cases, a lot of these other states have got a lot more attractions. Beaches, clubs, bars, you name it. Theme parks. It just depends on where you live. a lot of these people wouldn't have to be on there if they tried just a little bit harder. But where we're at, Decatur, it's not like it's Knoxville. It's not like it's Nashville. It's not, one of those big portion populated places. It's just you've got what you got and you've got what you need. Every now and then you might, a squirrel might find him a nut. He might up on something that doesn't normally come out here. Maybe somebody out of town, might wind up at the pig. It's never heard of it before, but they wonder what it is. You never know, or maybe they had family that recently moved out out here because of maybe the virus. So maybe this place here is something neat, nice, and peaceful, and weather-wise anyway. It would help you get away from it. I'm not saying they don't have, some of these kids out here don't have this stuff or whatever. Just like I said, it depends on who you get around and what extent you take it serious. If you don't take it as serious, like me and my wife don't, because we're not sick, we don't have anything. If you're one of those that's got a big family and and they out there working and they out there trying to make a living, but at the same time have to put up with these people, of course I'm gonna go in there as covered up as possible in most cases. But my job at Hardy's required me mostly outside, so I didn't have to worry about covering up too much. So, anyway, when I used to work, but, but we thought we'd, be nice enough, come out and maybe give somebody a chance. Like the first night we did this, which was on the 30th, really. After we did that video, it went 3 hours and 2 minutes and 56 seconds all in total, because our buddy from the fire guy had got on that day. And of course, he's probably busy. He's probably working. I think he's a busy man. But, he just happened to be on there that night. And then we had this other person just happened to be on there and seen us chatting. And then he started a little bit. Not nowhere near as much. But, then that, but it's not going to happen, like that every time. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff out here, it could be streaming live, could be sports, could be, all that, could be the news. A lot of people get their heads filtered up with all that. Boy, they don't need to really put too much effort in here. And just, I get what I need to get, and I don't listen anymore. Just whatever I need to fill up my head, and because they just keep on and on. I mean, it's 24 hours a day. Like I said, if you're going to hear 2 or 3 things in a day's time on the news. If it's local news, you'll hear about people doing something bad. Somebody getting, and then some people say, well, if we didn't talk about that bad stuff, we wouldn't know anything's going on. Why talk about it unless it's in your neighborhood? Unless you lived out there like I said, unless you lived out there in the bad part of Chattanooga, which is down there in Chattanooga, they had this one area that they had all these weird houses painted all kind of different colors, and obviously, because a lot of the African American population lived down there, and not saying all of them's bad, but they all put up stuff because most cases black people can illustrate that kind of behavior. A lot of drug addicts, not saying that Mexicans or whites are any different, or any colors are different, but races are different. But anyway, but it is the assumption that if you had to put jail bars up over your your windows and all this other stuff, then you know you're living in a bad spot. So, like I said, we live in a spot out here in Decatur, Tennessee, that is in no way in danger of anything, and we're not even on the worst list of anything. If you'd said, yeah, as far as it not having any real attractions wise, yeah. If you said it that way, and you didn't have beaches to go to, which is like I said, a lot of them that get on the internet, I don't understand why they do, because they'd have beaches, they'd have things to go to, a lot more than we do out here. And so, and as far as us getting a job, why don't they get a job? They want it so bad they can earn them a dollar. I told my wife, because if you're sensible about the whole thing, nobody is going to expect anybody to buy any. These girls out there should not expect any person to come out and just hand them money on cards. And then on top of that, you have to worry about taking pictures or all that bull. Or if you lived in that area, like I said, we're not fortunate enough to live, near these people. It's going to take somebody with a special, place in their heart to do it and want to do it and have the type of vehicle to do it. Have everything organized. Me and my wife we skip a lot of people. A lot of them wants to do college. A lot of them wants to play around and, screw around with family and kids and all that other mess. If they've already got that much to entertain themselves with, why do they need anything else? So you already got what you mainly want. Me and my wife's family ain't that good. Now it's a long story, but the older we got, simple. The older we got, the worse they just got. They won't be out there doing their jobs and their stuff like that because of choices they've made over the years. Let them down that road. Now, like I told my wife, I said, Wednesdays, a lot of these women are going to wake up and they're going to be wondering, man, if I didn't have to do it, if I didn't have to do all that. Because having kids just make you older, make you feel worse, make you feel older. You wind up 55, 60 years old, and you're like, man, I've had all these kids, and now I'm just now getting a break. Sometimes, you could use a Connie or something like that once in a while, or something like me and my wife right now, and not try to get too much into all that, because you know what's going to happen. We give people chances, and all they've had is kids and extra family that they already fucking fooled around with. And not saying everybody's bad, but for the majority, that's what entertains them. And you're just an extra outsider looking in. You're not getting paid attention to. You're not important to them. You're just somebody sitting here they're wasting your time, and they're wasting our time by even trying to, because you don't know where they're coming from. You don't know what they're thinking. And then when they come out and half-ass offer you something that you're not going to want, then you have to boot them people out, You have to get rid of it. They just wanted to see what they could leech on to, Not naming anybody in particular, but, it may fit some of these people. But a lot of people do that. They try to put too much. They think you're just going to sit there and basically be ready to riot act when they're the ones that's usually wrong. 9 times out of 10, I can see there'd be a lot of people I wouldn't want. Like I said, me and her's got what we got right now. That'd be just as good as anything. The peace and quiet, the dolls, and stuffed animals that we have. She dresses her dolls up every day. Here, you want on the video? What? Oh, wait a minute. What does her say? Daddy's. What you got? Oh, Daddy's Princess. Oh, look at there. Let's show everybody. See? Daddy's Princess. Here, I better give her Spot back. Hey, there you go. Look, her and Spot. Say, slept with Daddy last night. She slept with Daddy. There you go. But, yeah. Well, they don't like me either. they don't like me either. A lot of these, like I tried to tell my wife, you have to treat them. It's not like I'm giving them anything. It's not like they're going to get nothing. Because, like I said, feather learns. You learn not to give in to these people. Yeah, we did that one time for somebody because at the time I was only doing it for 2 weeks. You know, for example, only doing it for 2 weeks at the time, helping them with food and stuff. They had everything else that was going to supposedly come. So we didn't see nothing wrong with it. But then get further along, and then these people, you know, didn't check everything out, didn't have everything organized as they thought, fall into some traps or what might turn into a trap. Oh man, orange juice. Lord, I want to say apple. Oh man, that's cool. But yeah, that's why I said it's gonna be a lot more. There's gonna be probably a lot more of them fall like dominoes. But that a lot of them is rude. I mean, you could take what they say out there and take it for basically nothing. They basically talk themselves out of anything, you know, because they'd rather be around stuff they already got going on. Who's going to fool with it? You know, there might be somebody out there, of course. Lord have mercy.
What's this camera's chair for?
Oh,
The boat was sliding off.
oh,
We're fixing it for.
oh, Catherine.
Her boat was
And her
sliding.
got a bunny? That's a bunny or a dog?
That's her dog.
Oh, I mean this thing.
She's got her dog.
Oh, a dog. Oh, okay.
Her puppy.
Her puppy. Yeah, we got a little old puppy here thing. But no, we just have to take it for what they will. If they treat us with respect, we treat them with respect. At the minute they sound like something out of one of these movies, drama, you know, we just do away with them so they don't ruin anybody's day, especially our day. You know, I don't know about everybody else, but you know, we just get rid of them. You know, because like I said, it'll be something. The fella just keeps trying. That's what it is. Like I said, it's what they say. There's plenty of fish out in the sea. Well, that's why everybody that comes to you doesn't always work. It's not supposed to. You know, if everybody was supposed to like everybody and treat everybody as God, as God wanted us to, then, you know, I'm certain that, you know, everybody wouldn't have to worry about not getting paid attention to. Everybody wouldn't have to worry about not being lonely and not being without food or drinks or clothes or whatever. Everybody's just supposed to like everything like everybody wants them to, or like God wants them to. And if you believe any of that in the Bible, which you can't. Like I said, there's only so much time and only so many things you can get accomplished. You only get one time to do something. But a lot of people I've noticed, you know, and again, I'm not shooting down people that want their family up their ass and they want kids up their ass. That was their choice. But that means you're going to have to, if you're somebody like me and my wife, and we're going to have to decide, can we put up with that? Could you manage can we manage that? And in most cases, the answer would be no, because obviously you'd be a spoke on the wheel. You'd be sitting there probably talking to yourself in most cases. Now, in the rare occasion that might not be, which only we'd know if we checked everything out, but a lot of times, unless they were just extra good kids, which I have, like I've told my wife about, I have had a couple times where kids take to you good. I know mine. I remember my dad a couple times went out, his second wife, she had a couple of these kids. As long as the boy had his Game Boy and the girls played with each other, and they kind of remind me of them times that me and my brother wrestle around, play around. You know, of course, I'd sit there and they didn't mind me getting in there with them a little bit and doing something with them, talking to them. They were real good. They had, I fixed them. My dad made sure they had stuff there to eat. I think it was like stuff like me and my wife eats, like cereal, and I know it was cereal, and then they had some stuff there in the can to eat. Stuff in the microwave to warm up. So like I said, it just depends on the package. And for somebody to understand, we just ain't got $400, $500, $600 that we can just blow. We'll spoil you if you turn out to be the one for what we're looking for. And we'll take care of all that. But if you're not intending on traveling, which this is something else I just thought of while I was talking. A lot of these people say, oh, they like to travel. And, we'll give them a try. We did it yesterday. I've not really been checking it out too much right now. Today, it's kind of still early. Give everybody a chance to wake up, maybe go on there later, and there might be 2 or 3 of them message you back. But, they always like to say they like to travel, and I say, and I always aggravate my wife, but it's the truth. I say, where they like to go, the bathroom and the mailbox in the back, over the next neighbor's yard. I always say they don't go no further than that. And it's not being mean, it's just telling the truth the way it is. I mean, these people, when they say travel, I'm thinking like in the old days when you see people on TV and on the news, these people coming in for gatherings and things and all this other bull. And some of them will come on there and I reckon they text my wife and say, well, it's caused the virus and stuff. Why? If you ain't got no more money we got, and most of our money goes toward bills, like I said, 90% of it goes toward bills, and we get about $200 a month sent to us by our payee. So, it's not like we go out and blow our money. We get things that we need and go out to eat or something. Take old Gracie out. And sometimes Dorothy out.
Take both of them.
No,
Gracie gets mad.
no Spot. But But no, it's not like we have a lot. But you know, we'd expect if you're going to say you like to travel, which is something I've never said because you know. But I wouldn't knock a trip once in a while. But these people say, "Oh, I like to travel." Well, we're sitting here thinking maybe you've got the extra money to do it. We ain't sitting there thinking like we're going to have to do all these fancy little things, and we're not going to. We want it done the old-fashioned way. If you want it bad enough, and we sound like something you want it bad enough, and you had it in your heart to want to do it, and you felt bad for us that we've had things happen to us, and you wanted to just kind of roll up in here, like I said, it'd all be worth it. It'd all be paid back after you came up here. It'd all work its way out. Like I said, we already spent close to $800 as it is on stuff. We've got it sitting over here hung up, so it don't get messed up. The bag don't get tore up. So if there's just anybody out here on YouTube or wherever out here and stuff, and you want to hit us up on that unicorn offer for a female or for a female, a single female and a single bestie with you, something, whatever the package is. That this way y'all see the video. Like I said, we kind of repeat everything because you never know who could be out here or what video they see. So it's always worth kind of going over again. So anyway, I'll give you an hour and a little over an hour, and so I don't see anybody as of right now. So I think we might get ready to eat here in a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and get off. We might get on again later on or something, but we'll see everybody later. All right.